Hello, I will be speaking about Charles Reznikoff's Children. It was a poem in one of his publishments called Holocaust in 1975. The poem Children is about the racism the Jewish community faced during the World War II in that time area in the 20th century. The poem, I would say, is really important to society because of the message it's trying to tell. All the oppression and hatred and everything that they had faced, and the whole of society should know all of this stuff and do something about it. They should change how the world is, because nobody deserves to be treated like that, especially not a minority, of course, because what are they supposed to do? They can't help themselves, especially if people just allow things to happen to them. I would say the deeper meaning of the poem is about the suffering the Jewish people faced. In the poem, it talked about the children, the suffering the children face. In the poem, it had talked about how SS soldiers, I believe it was SS soldiers, I'm not specifically sure, but soldiers would come to a hospital and obtain children, and they would get them and throw them off even second-story floors just to pack them in and send them away because they were Jewish. Nobody was safe, not even children. Nobody should go through any of that. From Britannica, it was violent events without itself being violent. The author, Charles Reznikoff, would use simple words and short sentences just to make a big impact. While I was reading it, I could tell everything. I could imagine it and feel a very sympathetic towards the characters. Even though there was no characters, I felt very sympathetic towards them and all their suffering that they went through. This had happened about 100 years ago, last century, and it was very important. It was a very scary and difficult time for everyone, especially Jewish people. And the fact that this happened and it's somewhat still happening today is very important. This poem is like timeless. We can learn from it, we can learn from our past, and we should do something to change that. It's been a big issue then and even now. The author himself was alive during this time. He was from a Jewish neighborhood of Brownsville in Brooklyn, according to the Poetry Foundation. So he had a personal connection within this. He was also Jewish. He was not a survivor of the Holocaust or anything like that. He lived here in America. But he had some insight on how it was to face oppression and racism, because you never know who goes through what. He didn't experience this firsthand, but it was important to his community. And it was even important to the whole world, because the whole world needs to know what had gone on. Times have gotten a little bit better since then, but not completely. Poetry is really good at making a record of events and people, according to Flashpoint Mag, and racism still exists in our world. The poem is timeless because of the way society is. The oppression towards all these different minorities has never really left. Sure, women can now vote. Sure, black people are not slaves anymore, but they still face hatred and oppression and other like little comments, little things that they shouldn't have to face, but they have to get through it. They shouldn't have to live this way. Poems like this one is very impactful because it is so small, so short, but very detailed, very impactful, and everyone should be reading it. Everybody should see what kind of oppression everyone's faced, and change for the better. Only when something really bad happens is when people listen, like World War II and the Holocaust and the George Floyd movement. That's why the poem is so important. The author speaks up about the issues they're facing, and now that they're speaking up about it is very crucial to the world. It's very important for us to try to get better and stop racism. Thank you for your time, for listening to my final outline.